Hi, I'm Jason Mitchell, CEO of the Jason Mitchell Group, the #1 real estate team in America. The reason for our video today is we want to talk about right now why potential buyers are actually sitting on the fence instead of actually going out there and buying a home. With the interest rate change in the environment, it immediately added an opportunity for buyers to take a step back and say, wait a minute, what is happening with the market right now? Is it now time for me to buy? Because in March, interest rates were 3.5% and now they're 5.5%, and that's a big difference. But what I want to express today is the opportunity right now is significantly better than the opportunity earlier this year and even last year. And I want to explain why. Because when you look at the news, all you see is doom and gloom. Markets crashing, recessions coming, housing crash inevitable, all these things. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. And just because interest rates are up doesn't mean you should wait. In fact, because interest rates are up, it's the opportunity to buy. Let me explain. Over the past year and a half, 2 years since the pandemic, with the interest rates plummeting, and then sometimes 2.875 to 3% on a 30-year fixed, what that did is it stirred up a lot of activity on the buy side because money was so cheap. And because money was so cheap, people went out and they decided to buy homes, second homes, investment properties, a new primary residence, and that led to an incredible amount of demand for houses. But with that incredible amount of demand, what it also led to was significant competition with almost every single home that got listed. In fact, most homes that were on the market received over 10 offers within 48 hours across the country. That's crazy. And when you bid up a home that quickly and that fast, what happens is people ultimately overpay. For those that were getting financing, many times you were unable to even secure the property, even going 15 and 20% above list price. Not only were you going 15, 20% above list price, not getting the property that you wanted, but even if you got the property, you were forced to do things that kind of got uncomfortable. Things like waiving the appraisal contingency. Why is that important? Because if the home didn't appraise, which many have not over the past couple years, you would have to make up that difference from the appraised value to your purchase price with cash. Many consumers didn't have the cash, or many didn't want to make up the difference. So in those cases, you would cancel the transaction because your home didn't appraise. So even if you won the property, overpaid for it, waived inspections, a lot of properties didn't close because they either didn't appraise or they actually couldn't secure the financing. And that's why a lot of sellers took cash offers that were less than offers that they got from those that were financing. This stir in the market over the past 2 years has led to an incredible amount of appreciation, but it's also led to a lot of people and a lot of buyers out there that were forced to overpay and not even get the home in a lot of cases, which then forced them to either stay in the home that they have or continue to rent. Now let's fast forward to today. Today, end of July 2022 versus even March of 2022, here's the difference, and this is why right now is significantly better to buy a home than it was even 3 and 4 months ago. Number one, you can probably actually buy the home. And I want to go back to that because there's nothing more deflating than finding a home that you really love and then finding out there's 10 offers on there and you're never going to get that home. Now you can go out, find a home, and actually secure that property. And in a lot of cases, negotiate on that home. If interest rate is important to you, have your agent negotiate closing costs. And a lot of sellers right now are willing to do that because inventories are on the rise. And when inventories go up, prices start to stabilize, and now we go back to a more normal market. So if we can take a home, let's say that's listed at $500,000. Back in March, that home that was listed at $500,000, day one would have had 10, 15 offers on it, most of which are above asking. And in fact, the average was about 15%. So that home at $575,000 that hits the market today at $500,000, you actually may even be able to negotiate that to where you pay $480,000, or maybe you pay $500,000 and you get $10,000 or $15,000 in concessions to buy your rate down. The fact is though, you're paying 15 to 18% less for that property. Real money, real cash, saving tens of thousands of dollars. Also, getting the right process of home ownership, not having to waive your appraisal contingency, not having to waive your inspection, a normal process that you deserve as a buyer. Today's homes can be negotiated. Today's homes aren't getting bid up 20% like they were only 4 months ago. That's real money, tens of thousands of dollars. Now, when we talk about the interest rate, yes, the interest rate may be higher, and it is higher. However, the gap from the amount of money you have to spend on the home then versus now makes up for a huge portion of the rise in that interest rate. And even if the rate after that still makes your payment $400 or $500 more a month, you're still saving tens of thousands of dollars. It's a big difference. Today's environment is 100% better for a buyer, even with the higher interest rates, than we were for the past 2 years. You don't have to worry about going into a home and saying, how much should I offer? And your agent saying, well, it's listed at 500, I think you should go in at 600. And then you get nervous. And you're like, oh my gosh, am I overpaying? What is going on? And then you do end up overpaying for the home. And it doesn't appraise, but you still fork out the money. That environment, even at a 4% interest rate, versus today at a 5.5% interest rate, but not having to overpay by $100,000 and not having to waive your appraisal and getting your inspection. Oh, and actually being able to buy the home where over here you may not have even gotten the property, even at a $600,000 offer, $100,000 above ask. That's the environment we're in right now. But it's not going to last forever, because here's what's going to happen. As people start to realize that the world is not on fire and going to burn to the ground, what was happening over the past couple months, you see the stock market up and down 800 points, 700 points. You see interest rates rising like crazy. You see inflation. You see everything the news pumps at you. And it makes people pause because they're scared. It makes people say, I'm going to wait a little while. And right now is not the time to wait. Because what will ultimately happen is this. Even though inventories are rising, we are still at really low inventory levels. Prices are going to continue to go up. Now, they will not go up 20% like they were year over year for the past 2 years. That's a fact. But even if they go up 4 to 7%, which most of the research companies are saying that's about average, 4 to about 8% nationally. Between CoreLogix, Case-Shillers, we're still anticipating appreciation in these markets. So not only will home prices continue to go up, but the fear is if rates continue to go up, which they certainly could, you're going to be in a much worse position come December and January of next year. Now, a lot of people say, well, I don't believe that. I think prices of homes are going to go down. I think interest rates will ultimately go down. And the answer to that question is, why is it that the smartest people in the world that do this for a living are telling you the opposite, but you're believing what you want to believe because you're watching the news? Why would you have wanted to buy a home in February where you're significantly overpaying for a property when right now you don't have to? And the difference is tens of thousands, in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why were you willing to give up your appraisal contingency and inspection in January of 2022, but not today? And today you don't have to do that, but yet you don't want to buy today, but you were willing to buy then. It doesn't make sense. And the only reason is because you hear on the news that everything is crashing and burning, and it's not crashing and burning. Right now is a better time to buy a home than it has been over the past 2 years. You have certainty within that purchase. You can go out with your agent, find a home you love, make an offer, probably negotiate it, maybe get some costs so you can buy down your interest rate. You get the process you deserve, but you're going to save a ton of money. And even if your mortgage payment is $400 more a month, but you can save $70,000, think of that break even. That break even point is so substantial, you're talking 15 years in difference. It's not even close. And so my advice is stop listening to the noise that's not true. That's what the media wants. They want you to be fearful. That's how they get eyeballs. But the reality of the situation is, it's better to buy a home right now than it has been over the past 2 years. It's just common sense, and the numbers tell you the whole story. So for those of you sitting on the fence wondering if now's the time to buy, I'm telling you unequivocally, now is a great time to get out into the market and to get a property, because they are going to continue to go up. But we're seeing this lull because interest rates shot up so quick, and now they started to come back down already. It's going to get crazy again out there. Will it be like it was? No, but I don't want it to be like it was. That led to you not being able to buy a home, or you having to overpay. We're going to have a more normalized market, and that's what we're getting into right now. So please take my word for it. Now is a better time to purchase a home than it has been over the past 2 years. Don't be afraid of the market. The market is going to be fine. Thank you very much for listening. And for more updates on the real estate market and for more great information on the market, please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We always have some great tips on there for everybody. But again, don't be afraid of the market. The market will be fine. Go buy your home.